Aileen Wuornos was born February 29, 1956 in Rochester, Michigan. As a child, her father committed suicide while in prison for molesting a child. Her mother then gave her and her brother Keith up to her grandparents. Her grandmother was allegedly an alcoholic, and her grandfather was violent and sexually abusive towards Aileen. As a teen, she had an incestuous relationship with her brother. At the age of 15, she was thrown out of her house for becoming pregnant, so she went to live in the woods and dropped out of high school. She eventually gave birth and gave her son up for adoption. Between the ages of 14 and 22, she attempted suicide 6 times.
Okay, as an adult, Aileen became a hitchhiker, and she used sex work as a means to make money. And then in the mid-1970s, she was brought in for assault and disorderly conduct.
Aileen committed several crimes such as armed robbery, check forgery, and auto theft. Eventually, she made her way to Florida and settled down with a wealthy yachtsman, Louis Fell, in 1976. Shortly after the marriage, Fell annulled the union.
She was about 19 when we met. We got married almost immediately, but it started going downhill when she would start fights in public and went to jail several times. I even had to file a restraining order because she hit me with my own cane. Soon after, I had the marriage annulled. Something was wrong with her.
Wuornos then continued her life of crime, committing several small crimes, and eventually meeting her new girlfriend, Taria Moore, at a gay bar. Taria was a 24-year-old hotel maid when she met 30-year-old Aileen. Aileen had a history of mental health problems. At the age of 14, she was admitted to a psychiatric ward for attempting suicide. There, she was diagnosed with BPD, but was never given follow-up therapy or counseling. Later, during her trial, it was found that she had both psychopathic and antisocial personality disorder as well.
Wuornos murdered 7 men in a 12-month period. There was speculated, though, that there was an 8th. However, we could not prove that.
Her victims in with prostitution, and after having intercourse, would shoot them with a .22 caliber gun. Then she would drive their cars off, leaving most of the men naked in the woods. After, Aileen would claim how her victims would sexually and physically assault her, and that their deaths were in self-defense. Many of the men she killed were convicted rapists.
So our first victim, Richard Mallory, he was 51 when his body was found on November 30th, 1989, and he was an electronics store owner. David Spears was a construction worker. He was 47 when his body was found on June 1st, 1990. Charles Carskadden was 40. He was a part-time rodeo worker, and his body was found on May 31st, 1990. Peter Symes was 65. He was a retired merchant salesman, and his car was found on July 4th, 1990, and his body was never recovered. Troy Burress was 50. He was a sausage salesman, and his body was found on August 4th, 1990. Charles Humphreys was 56. He was a retired U.S. Air Force major, and his body was found September 11th, 1990. And the final victim, Walter Antonio, was 62. He was a trucker and a security guard, and his body was found November 19th, 1990. Now, all these victims were found with several gunshot wounds, mostly to the head and the torso.
I know. Hey, I'm gonna step outside for a second. I have smoke. Yeah. Okay. Princess. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yo. Yes. Tyria,
Yes.
there's something I have to tell you. I don't
Okay.
think I've been completely honest with you about some of the things I do when I'm out there.
Shh, don't tell me. I don't want to know.
Aileen was untraceable until January of 1991, when she was found at a biker bar in Daytona Beach. She had just recently broken up with girlfriend Tyria Moore. She was described by police as being very erratic and not cooperative. This was until enforcement contacted Tyria, who agreed to cooperate in exchange for immunity from prosecution.
I knew Aileen was committing those crimes. She was always shady. She was always doing stuff. I didn't ever want to know the details, but I decided it was time to work with the police. Aileen, baby, you have to confess. You have to confess. They're gonna get me, and then I'm gonna go to jail. And I don't want to go to jail, Aileen. Okay? You have to own up to what you did. I know that you did it. Okay, they know that you did it. We all know. You gotta confess. Otherwise, they're questioning my family. They're questioning me. They're gonna take us all down.
Okay, I know I'm gonna do everything I can to keep you out of jail, even if that means owning up to it. I'll do it, Tyria. I'm gonna confess. Police set her up at a hotel and tapped a phone there. Tyria then called Aileen and asked her to confess to the murders, which she did shortly after the phone call. Forensic evidence used at the trial included fingerprints and ballistics. When Aileen pawned items belonging to the victims, a fingerprint was required on the receipt. Police found this to match her fingerprints in the system from previous bookings. Her print also matched the print found in Peter Siem's car. Each body had the same .22 caliber gunshot wound, found to match the gun taken from her when she was arrested. Other evidence included was her confession in Tyria's testimony.
Aileen was absolutely unhinged in the court. She was going a little insane.
Alright, you're fired. You're fired. You're all fired. My lawyer's fired. I need to defend myself. That's all I got on me today.
Lord, and I have asked forgiveness. I am sorry that my acts of self-defense ended up in court like this, but I take full responsibility for my actions. It was them or me. I am sorry for all the pain that my actions have caused. I am prepared to die if you say it is necessary. But I am not.
By pleading guilty, it appeared that Lee Wuornos was in reality hoping for mercy and forgiveness, but that is not what happened. I sentence you in case number 91-463 to death for the murder of Troy Burris. Case number 91-304. I sentence you to death for the murder of Charles Humphreys. Case number 91-112, Citrus County case number. I sentence you to death for the murder of David Spears.
Thank you.
I want to confess. My girlfriend didn't do anything, and I want to make that very clear that she was not responsible for any of the crimes. I did kill those men, and I don't know why I did it. It was an act of self-defense. And I mean, they would have killed me or raped me or... There you go.
So do you regret killing all those men?
No, I'm better off dead because I'd absolutely kill again.
Tyria was absolutely pivotal in making a case against Aileen. Aileen was charged with first-degree murder, armed robbery with a firearm, and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. She was found guilty of 6 counts of first-degree murder and received 6 death sentences. On October 9th, 2002, she was executed by lethal injection. She was the second woman in Florida to be executed, but the first woman to fit the FBI profile of a serial killer.
After Aileen's trial, people took a serious interest in one of America's first female serial killers. Interviewers came left and right to see what she had to say. Eventually, her case sparked the interest of writers, poets, and general media. A movie titled Monster was made about her, a couple of documentaries, and eventually, she inspired a character on American Horror Story. After these projects, many people started to feel sympathy for Aileen, taking their disdain to Twitter and earning her a small occult following.